Good evening and welcome to an episode of Prime Time with Anis Farooqi on TAC TV. This is an exclusive segment, exclusive episode that we are going to be talking about some issues here in Canada. One of the Khalistani leader in Canada says that Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, is disgusting. It's a very shocking statement and I would like to share this with you and discuss with my panel. Let me introduce it to you. Anirudh Bhattacharya, representing Hindustan Times. Welcome to the show, sir. And as our Tahir Gora Saab, CEO of the TAC TV, will be joining me on this discussion. As soon as I saw this disgusting statement, it was really disgusting to me. I would like to show you a video first, and then let's talk about that first. I'll ask my producer if you can show me this video, please.
Imran Khan has brought new way of politics to the world. दुनिया को हैरान करने वाली चीज है वो सारे सामने लेके आई है। पुलवामा अटैक तो बाद दो दुनिया के लीडर बोले, एक नूं लोकां ने थू थू कहा ते दूसरे नूं लोग कहंदे ने दोनों चीज।
So, for the benefit of my viewers, there was some Hindi involved in it, and where is this disgusting part that Mr. Bansra is saying in this clip you saw?
So, he's basically talking about thu-thu or whatever that the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said. People were spitting upon his words, whereas he was comparing that to the reaction post-Pulwama, the Pulwama terror attack in India and India's reprisal with the Balakot airstrikes of the Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan being praised for his stand after those events occurred.
So, Pulwama attack happens and two leaders issue a statement. One is highly praisable because that is Imran Khan, and another one is Tutu, which is like disgusting, saying by a Khalistani Mr. Bansra in front of an audience. Now, let me give you a background of this audience. Let me give you where he was standing and let me show you who invited him. I would like my producer to show this first clip number 1, and then Mr. Gora, I would like you to shed some light that who is the invitee and who is this guest and what is he doing in the on which event. So, let us see this clip number 1.
To our own Canadian Senator Attaullajan. Attaullajan एक बार फिर मेरा धन्यवाद करदा कि पाकिस्तान रेजोल्यूशन डे दे इस मौके दे उत्ते सानू दो भाईचारिਆਂ ਨੂੰ इकट्ठा कीता। सो तीसरा जो सानू गुलाम बना के रखना चाहता वो देख लवे कि वी हैव जॉइंड हैंड्स। Canadian Sikh community is much more closer to Pakistan than any other country in that area.
Gora Sahab, we see that Mr. Bansra is thanking one of our Canadian senators, Salma Attaullajan. I believe he was invited by her. The occasion, the event is in Ottawa, place is in Ottawa. The event is the 23rd March resolution, Pakistan Resolution Day celebrations organized by, of course, Pakistani High Commission and the Consul General. And then this speech given in front of the Pakistani audience by Mr. Bansra, saying Ghulam, the word Ghulam, the slaves and Pakistan Resolution Day, and he said Dhanyawad, Miss Salma Attaullajan. What do you have to say about that?
You know, actually what Sukhminder Hansara is saying over and over, as Canadian I believe he has right to say,
okay,
but I do not believe that the Salma Attaullajan, who is a Canadian senator, should invite a known Khalistani in Canadian Parliament, because, and not only that, Salma Attaullajan clapping and praising his remarks over Prime Minister Modi.
In this clip, you mean the Salma Attaullajan is seen in this clip?
Absolutely. I would ask producer to show that clip.
Let's look at one more time. Can you please identify where is the Senator Salma Attaullajan? So, the way we are looking at this clip right now, So this is Sukhminder Saab addressing, and this lady taking this photography.
Yeah, she's Miss Salma Attaullajan.
Okay.
Who's senator.
Okay. 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 And he is Sukhminder ji is thanking Salma Attaullajan that you invited me and it's a great honor and blah blah blah.
You know, it's not just that, because when he said that Prime Minister Modi is disgusting, he said in Punjabi, he used the word tutu.
Right.
Tutu is exactly disgusting.
So Imran Khan is an angel,
That's
farishta,
fine.
saint,
Mr.
and then Narendra Modi is tutu.
In my opinion,
This is happening in my Canada, Gora Sahab?
Mr. Hansra has right to say things. India is a great democracy. Canada is a great democracy. Anyone can use these kind of words for political leaders. I have no issue. But my issue is why a Canadian senator is clapping on insulting remarks towards Prime Minister Narendra Modi, because this is not her mandate. If she is doing that, then I need to ask Conservative Party of Canada, is Canadian Conservative Party of Canada against India?
Okay.
I need to ask Conservative Party of Canada, is it their position to say word tutu are disgusting for Prime Minister Modi? If this is not their position, then I need to ask further that is Conservative Party of Canada doing some action against this senator?
That's a very valid point. It's
because
a very
these are the points. I mean, Mr. Hansra has right to say whatever he say.
Yeah.
We may agree with him, we may disagree with him.
Are you on the same page, Mr. Bhattacharya, that
yeah, more or less
this insulting attitude by an official senator of Canada to the world's largest democracy, the democratic leader of India, Narendra Modi, the elected leader, like this kind of insult and then clapping on that, how do you see this?
Well, I think it's, Indian officials I have spoken to would say that what is problematic is the presence at an event at Parliament Hill of a person who is a self-declared secessionist. Mr. Sukhminder Singh Hansra openly is a proponent of the Khalistani movement, which is a separate state, carved out of India, and also at the invitation of a Canadian senator. And as Mr. Gora said, there is an issue there simply because the leader of our party, Mr. Andrew Scheer, went to India in fall of last year. He was given quite a welcome. He was unusually enough, even though he was only the leader of the opposition, the Indian Prime Minister met him. Other ministers also met him. The Canadian Prime Minister has taken the position when he went to India last February that the government stands for one united India. So, given those circumstances, to have this invitation issued to a person who actually doesn't stand for one united India, creates a lot of questions. Why was he there? Why was he given a platform?
Gora, he also said in another clip
that
joining hand, shaking hand, closer to Pakistan, closer to India and Canada. I want to show you this clip and then we'll talk about it. I would, if I can have the clip number 2, please.
It's far more moving when a stateless nation comes and says happy Pakistan to a nation that already has their home. So एक बार फिर मैं तुहानू एक स्टेटलेस नेशन का नुमाइंदा होने के नाते कहना चाहना हैप्पी पाकिस्तान डे। तो मैं आस करदा कि एक दिन तुसी भी सानू हैप्पी खालिस्तान माफ करना खाली थामा डे जरूर कह सकते। I was told not to mention that, so I just forgot.
I didn't understand this part where he's saying happy Pakistan Day, and then he said you can also reciprocate and then say that happy Khalistan, and they say, oh, sorry, I was not supposed to say that, or I was told not to mention this.
Right.
Who said that?
Yeah,
who has been, guiding this person?
Of course, whoever invited him, and he's thanking Senator Salma Jan over and over and saying that thank you for inviting us. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to join hands with Pakistani Punjabis And we are together, we are united, and we are against our enemy. Assuming enemy in this phrase,
which is India. Okay.
India. So he's using, and again, senator, and not just the senator. Also, we need to remember in this ceremony, there was a Pakistan's ex-Chief Justice was there.
Saqib Nisar.
There were 3 high-end politicians visiting from Pakistan. They were there. The stage was shared by Pakistani diplomats as well. So everyone is clapping.
Right.
You know, probably you would never ever see this kind of a scenario by Indian diplomats in Canada, where they would be sitting with Baloch and Mohajir dissidents or Pashtun dissidents. You would never see this kind of a scenario.
Yes, yes. And
it's a shame. I mean, it's a shame that this is happening in my country.
Yes.
Beautiful Canada. And this is a shame. A Canadian senator is involved in this kind of a thing. And this is a shame if Canadian Parliament, if Canadian government, it's not just the responsibility of Conservative Party.
Right.
Canadian Liberal government need to jump into this issue as well.
Yeah.
They shouldn't let anyone to use Canadian Parliament for this kind of event.
Very true. Very true.
It's very straightforward.
As you see, the title on the screen is saying that Khalistani leader calls Indian PM a disgusting in Canadian Parliament. I would like to see that one more time, and I'll get back to Anirudhji, and I have one more question for him also. So let's see the clip number 3, please.
Imran Khan has brought new way of politics to the world. दुनिया को हैरान करने वाली चीज है वो साढ़े सामने लेके आई है। पुलवामा अटैक तो बाद 2 दुनिया के लीडर बोले, एक नूं लोकां ने थू थू कहा ते दूसरे नूं लोग कहंदे ने दोनों चीज।
Anirudhji, you see in this clip when he's mentioned that Thutu part, the discussing part, the jubilation in the crowd and standing ovation, and then walks in the frame our Senator Salma Attaullajan. Now you've been writing for Hindustan Time, The Post in Canada as a Canadian representative, and you have a good look at this whole spectrum. Saying this, that Sikh community is much more closer to the Pakistan by Mr. Hansraj. How do you see that, and how do you see this response, the standing ovation, the clapping and everything?
Well, I mean, you know, the clapping ovation is expected. It is a Pakistan Day event, and you know, there is very little love lost between the two countries and the citizens of the two countries, even if they live abroad, even if they're Canadian citizens. You know that we tend to import our animosities.
Yep.
That is that is acceptable. That's not a problem. They're free to do that. Again, as I will get back to the fact of the matter is that an Indian Prime Minister was insulted on a public platform by a secessionist in Parliament Hill. I think that is extremely problematic, and that is extremely problematic not just for the Conservative Party. I've actually emailed the press secretary to the leader of the Conservative Party, Mr. Andrew Scheer. I have received no response from him. I had asked him for a comment on this particular issue, and it's also a problem for it should be an issue for the Canadian government. I mean, the sort of platform that was provided. And as I said right at the beginning, I mean, the fact that the people gathered there are doing that is not a problematic. They have the freedom of expression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Gaur Sahab, from the diplomatic point of view and from the political point of view, between these three nations, India, Pakistan and Canada, how do you see this, that diplomatically, do you see any effects on the relationships? We know that Mr. Trudeau does not have the greatest relationship with Indian current government or any government. and Mr. Andrew Scheer, whose recent visit was well received as much better than Mr. Trudeau. But how do you see, is this going to affect the diplomatic relationship or norms between these countries?
Definitely this kind of incident brings a stress on relationship between nations. And especially one problematic part we are talking over and over, and it is a fact that Senator Salma Attaullajan was not supposed to approve Mr.
endorse
Hansra's remarks with her applause and with her clapping, and one thing is a problematic, and other thing, of course, a problematic when Mr. Hansra clearly says that today we are joined, Pakistani and Indian Punjabis are joining hands against their common enemy, which is India.
Okay.
What he can say these things, but the platform where he said was not appropriate, and it's a responsibility of Pakistani diplomats, it's a responsibility of Pakistani politicians, since they are working on Kartarpur corridor,
right,
and they say that we want to bring sort of a peace between two countries,
right,
but their politicians visiting Canada, they are clapping. I can understand that kind of a standing ovation from the public.
right,
Public is just, but that's not even great gesture either, frankly.
exactly.
I mean, I have no objection on Mr. Sukhminder Hansra. Whatever he did, this is his mandate, and he is doing this for years and years.
Yep.
And I do not agree with him.
Right.
That's a separate thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, why Pakistani diplomats, why Pakistani politicians, why Canadian politicians of Pakistani origin
Okay.
are showing their support towards his ideas?
Okay.
This is the biggest issue.
Right.
And so it means he is not just insulting Prime Minister Modi, he is also clearly saying that we are stateless people, we want separation from India, and we have nothing to do with India. And when he says that the Sikh, Canadian Sikh community is more closer
to Pakistan,
that is his kind of a over judgment. And because I have lots of Sikhs and I'm Punjabi myself, and I know probably 95% Sikhs here in Canada definitely do not endorse his ideology. But he is a political sort of a leader for his separatist movement. He can exaggerate things.
Right.
But the thing is, why his exaggeration is
Approved and endorsed by
Pakistani diplomats.
Okay, so follow-up question.
That means they do not know diplomacy.
Follow-up question to both of you.
Yeah.
Now this senator, Salma Attaullajan, is a conservative senator. How do you see party reacting to this kind of behavior, or do they allow, do they permit, do they approve such a public demonstration of their emotional attachment?
Well, that's an interesting question. As you know that after Justin Trudeau took over as the Prime Minister of Canada, at least formally there is no Liberal caucus in the Senate. They are all independent senators. That does not apply to the Conservative Party. They remain part of the Conservative caucus. So obviously there is a party line which I would think that Conservative senators would also adhere to. And so we need to get a response from the Conservative leader what the party line is in terms of this particular event, in terms of the sort of platform that was provided, in terms of the statements that were made there, which unfortunately has not been provided as yet.
So Gaurav Sahab, you are well connected within the conservative circles also. So how do you see this kind of behavior from a senator, from a Conservative Party of Andrew Scheer?
Absolutely, as a citizen of Canada, this behavior is disgusting.
This behavior is disgusting.
This behavior is
not
disgusting.
the statement.
Absolutely.
And the statement is disgusting.
Absolutely, and the statement is disgusting. And the way that statement was well received by Pakistani diplomats.
I would say well promoted by.
Absolutely.
Or sponsored by.
This is a shame.
Yeah.
And as a citizen, I would say, as a member of the party, I can say less, but as a citizen, I would urge Conservative Party of Canada to take action against senator. And I will also urge Canadian government to look into this matter, because the Parliament was used
Yeah.
to say something very, very inappropriate.
What kind of message we are sending to India from Canadian Parliament by a Canadian senator?
Yeah, so the message which is going out is that regardless of party affiliation in Canada, it appears that the establishment is not really interested in having a constructive relationship with India going ahead, which is kind of a strange message at this point in time, especially since I pointed out earlier, Mr. Shear had a great reception when he traveled to India, and you know, we'll see how this develops.
Guru Sahab, we all know that the infiltration of Pakistani mindset in Liberal Party, we have seen that, we have witnessed that through the member parliament, member provincial parliament, but lately we have been noticing that the Conservative Party also have some the candidate for the nomination or the candidates who have that kind of mindset coming into the party. Now, is this not an alarming sign for Conservative Party? How do you see that?
You know, I'm not concerned about this as long as our own community, your and mine particularly, Pakistani community, participate actively in Conservative Party. They should. They should be welcomed. But the concern is when these kind of elements we see.
Right.
When you and I and many people from Pakistani community are against extreme Islamist ideology.
Right. Yep.
We love Islam. Wonderful. That's fine. But if there's any jihadi mindset, if there's any hatred towards any nation or any country,
or state-sponsored
is
agenda
being orchestrated by some of our community members in Conservative Party, we'll denounce it the way we denounce it happening in Liberal Party or NDP. So we cannot endorse this kind of a mindset in Canadian politics.
Right. Right.
All communities are welcome to participate in political parties. So does Pakistani community. Wonderful. It's a great thing.
If I could,
do you also see this trend in this Canadian politics lately? Like,
yeah, no. So one of the things which I did want to mention is, of course, you know, the Conservatives, because they had looked at rapprochement with the Indian government after the fairly difficult trip that the Prime Minister had to India. I was actually working very hard on wooing over the Indo-Canadian population here, and from what the responses that I am seeing to this particular event, because this video has also gone viral on WhatsApp groups, via Facebook, etc. They are extremely upset with the Conservative Party at this point in time, and unless, you know, some sort of action is actually taken in this regard, there would be a fair degree of disillusionment.
So what action do you suggest, Mr. Gora?
You know, they should definitely do an investigation, and Ms. Salma Attaullajan should extend her apology, sincere apology, and should say in that apology that she would not engage in these kind of hatred towards other nations or other countries, because as senator, she is not supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yes, when she'll retire, she can say whatever she wants, but she should not use her position for this kind of a malign attitude. She should not use her office, she should not use her party, and she should not use Canadian Parliament. And as Canadian, I'm very upset.
Thank you, gentlemen. In the end, I would like my producers to show this clip number 3 one more time, where, because we are all very short term memory, you know, and then we would like to know exactly what happens. Pay attention to this video clip number 3.
Imran Khan has brought new way of politics to the world. दुनिया को हैरान करने वाली चीज है वो साढ़े सामने लेके आई है। पुलवामा अटैक तो बाद दो दुनिया के लीडर बोले, एक नूं लोकां ने थू थू कहा ते दूसरे नूं लोग कहंदे ने लोग पीस।
So, And that's that from Prime Time with Anis Farooqui. I thank Mr. Gora and Mr. Bhattacharya for joining me today. We definitely need some answers from Madam Salma Attaullajan, Liberal Party, the current government, from the diplomatic point of view, and the Mr. Andrew Scheer from Conservative Party. What is going on? We need some answers. Public needs some answer. They are angry. Thank you very much, gentlemen, watching.